Hello, everyone, and welcome to Discover Rising Tides, How the Outside Makes the Inside Better. I am Jeanne Gallagher, and I'm here with our longevity concierge, Denise Stegall. Hey, Denise.
Hi, Jean. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. And we're working through the happiness and joy segments. And we've talked about so many great, well, you have so many great hints for people that are simple and easy to achieve. And there's one more that we might not even consider would be necessary to think about. What's this one? This is important.
So this is important. When it comes to joy, menopausal women struggle to find joy. Now, when I say menopausal women, I am talking about women probably 40, maybe closer to 45 to about 65. These are women that are experiencing symptoms. And a lot of them don't even know they're having symptoms. We think hot flashes and irregular cycles are kind of like the first signs of menopause, but they're not. The earliest signs actually have nothing to do with that, but they have everything to do with anxiety, loss of joy. Why? Mood swings, irritability, the night sweats and things that happen. Yeah, that really does happen. But the truth is really, your brain is changing as well. So
those physical things are easy to recognize.
Right.
We're talking about what you're talking about is the almost non-physical. It's mental, right? But it's non-physical. So we're not sweating. We're not doing all of these things that we go, oh, that's what it is. Oh, that super sucks.
Right.
It's our habits are changing, and what we consider normal is different than what it was 10 years prior.
Right. And the anxiety and the mood swings, that actually is a perimenopausal. Those are really perimenopausal symptoms. So a lot of times, especially nowadays, women are having children a little bit later, right? Not so much in the Midwest where I live, but all of my friends on the coasts, they had children later. One of my closest friends, she was 38 when she had her last child. And when we consider that progesterone starts dipping at 35, she was already perimenopausal, right? So these are symptoms that women are having from the time they're 40, and it may never really get better because they're not understanding that it is a effect of estrogen starting to decline, right? Estrogen regulates our moods, it regulates our emotions and our brain function. When we talk about brain function, more and more we're talking about cognitive function in the way of Alzheimer's and dementia. But our brain is functioning all the time now. And your brain is different when the serotonin, the dopamine, and the cortisol levels all start kind of getting wonky. Right? Yeah. Yes, we know as we get older, estrogen and progesterone are dropping, but the other hormones that come into play here that really affect our happiness and joy are serotonin. There's that the happiness hormone. Dopamine, which is a motivational booster. This is one of those that kind of drives us to do the things that we loved. And we've talked about that in another segment where, someone doesn't even know what they like to do anymore.
Yeah.
That's not just something that, it's actually a physical thing that's happening to them because they may know, but they just don't have the drive that they used to have. The other one, of course, is cortisol. Estrogen kind of keeps cortisol in check. So if that's dropping, your cortisol levels are kind of bouncing around, but they're getting higher and higher. And again, as we go through menopausal years, that's when the sweats come in, and the erratic sleep. And if we're not sleeping, our cortisol levels are going up even more. If your stress hormone is going crazy, is going through the roof, it's really hard to find a place where happiness and joy lives.
That makes sense. And this is an important topic to touch on for people to hear, because there's more conversations about menopause than there ever has been.
Mm-hmm.
However, when you're connecting the happiness, joy piece to it, doesn't usually come into conversation.
No, and it's absolutely connected.
Hmm.
And this is one of the challenges that most of us have when we go to a doctor. Even our OBGYNs, they're not trained in menopause. You know,
They're not trained
they
in
hear
happiness.
they're definitely not trained in happiness. Let's be real. You know, a doctor's job is to fix you when you're broken,
Right.
right? And if there's something like your mood, and you know, make possibly some anxiety, they want to fix that, right? And how do they fix that? They fix it by giving you an antidepressant. And if you've ever read the package insert of an antidepressant, years ago I worked for Eli Lilly Pharmaceuticals, and I sold Prozac to physicians. I guess I didn't really sell it. I offered it. That was my job. Right? Prozac was one of the products that was in my repertoire. Um, and for those people who have true diagnosed depression and
Hmm.
anxiety, these are great medications. If the challenge with your mood is because your estrogen and progesterone levels are declining, the antidepressant is not going to help you. It's actually going to make it, or can make it, worse.
That's gonna mask it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any of that unexplained and anxiety, I've never experienced this the anxiety piece. Like, that's not something. My sister, on the other hand, every now and then she'll say, you know, like she kind of felt like she was having a panic attack, and I was like, why? You know, this was before I understood what was really happening, and I'm like, she talks in front of people all the time. Why this day was she having a bit of a panic attack? Ah, well, you know, she was 48 years old.
Mhm.
You know, hormones can do a little funky thing. So, you know, it's really important to, and this again is where I'm going to come up with journaling. We love journaling, don't we, Jeanne?
Well, it's a necessary evil for some of us. And for some of us, it's
Yes.
a necessary love. I challenge with it, but I'm trying to embrace it more.
Hmm. This is where,
Maybe that's why I keep talking about it, because I'm trying to convince myself that I should be doing it more, because I know it's good and
oh,
I know it has a purpose.
but you just said something. I know I should do it. If it's something you should do, it's not something you enjoy. Maybe there's a
Right.
better way to do it.
Ah, there we go. We can find that. And if anybody's listening has a suggestion, send it this way.
Yes. Um, anyway, back to the point of that I want to make. If you're noticing this, like all of a sudden, you know, you're starting to notice, you know, your mood swings are a little funky. You're irritable more often than not. You have your loss of motivation. You know, your joy is just gone. And you feel disconnected to the people you love and the things that you enjoy doing. This is a conversation to have with a professional.
Mhm.
It's a
Yeah.
conversation to have with somebody like me as a coach, because I understand where you could be, what could be going on, and I could then direct you in a way that of just a regular doctor, just kind of going to your PC. They're not going to really know how to help you. I can help you
Mhm.
um, write the answers, or write the answers, ask the questions to your doctors that are going to help you in the best way.
And what's nice is
So.
there's not the shame of asking for help now that there used to be 10 years ago.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, menopause is stressful, aging is stressful. You know, we for men and for women, you know, every couple of years there's something else going on, right? um but I do believe that there is a way for us to better understand what's going on, take control of it, reclaim our energy, reclaim our sense of self, most importantly, our sense of joy.
Great. Denise, thank you as always. And
Oh, you're
Denise will bring you happiness and joy. If anybody needs a little shot of that, get in touch with Denise because she has great tips. And thank you so much for these segments.
Thank you. It's always
Hello, everyone. This is Jeanne Gallagher, Discover Rising Tides, and I want to just take a moment to talk about my friend, Denise Stegall. I am honored to call her as a friend, and I'm so grateful that she gives us her insight during our shows each show and talks about healthy living, eating real food. You hear Denise say, eat real food a lot. Well, she means it, and she knows what she's talking about. She is an amazing healthy living coach, curator at Living Healthy List. And if you ever have any questions about what is real food, why does it matter, how does that apply to me, how do I change, what do I need to do, how do I even create a healthy living shopping list, make sure that you call her. She is your healthy living coach, and you can find her at healthylivinglist.com. Hello, everyone. This is Jeanne Gallagher with Discover Rising Tides, how the outside makes the inside better. And thank you very much for joining. Excuse me. I'm excited to have Aaron Mayhew with us today. And if you look back a few episodes or more than a few episodes, we've had Aaron on before, but I wanted to have a revisit and talk a little bit about her story. I think this is going to be really impactful for a lot of people because I know that if you are self-employed and you've been going through some health issues or trying to figure out how to pivot your business and the impact of that, Aaron has just an incredible story to share with us. Hey, Aaron, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Oh, I'm so excited for that. So before we get started, let's just do a quick revisit about you and your business, and then we're going to dive in and have a great conversation.
So again, my name's Aaron Mayhew. I'm a registered dietitian, and I've been one now for 25 years, which is hard to believe. I've been doing it for so long. And I've been in business for 8 years now. I've been a clinical dietitian for the first 16 years of my career. And when I turned 40, I've had some of these crises over time. So I had a midlife crisis when I turned 40 and decided okay, I just wasn't happy for a variety of reasons. And I decided to hike the Pacific Crest Trail. And then preparing for that trip, I ended up making my own food and all kinds of learning about nutrition and sports and that kind of thing. And then it just turned into a business, and I've been doing it ever since. And I think what we're going to talk about today is kind of how I've pivoted multiple times over the last 8 years and where I am today.
Yes. And so just a quick little look on what is Backcountry Foodie?
Again, I'm a registered dietitian. I'm a long distance backpacker. And so essentially Backcountry Foodie has come about by all my personal experiences where I've solved my own personal problems. And then I in turn find a way to help other people solve their problems. So it started out as a recipe service. I wrote a cookbook. And then I wanted to produce more and more recipes. So we have a recipe platform now where I add recipes every month because that's something I enjoy, being in the kitchen and tinkering. And every trip I go on, I always want to try something new to eat. So that's the main part. And then also, like I was saying early on, I really struggled with the meal planning part and figuring out how calories and nutrition and those things. So we've developed an automated meal planner. So now instead of using spreadsheets and doing it all by hand, the meal planner is all automated. And then also I offer nutrition coaching services. So for people that are just struggling and I'm still, running out of energy, or I just don't want to do this, can somebody do it for me? I offer nutrition coaching. And I've also done a lot of things. I also ran a commercial food business last year. And there's some reasons we're probably going to talk about why I don't do that anymore. And I also offered a resupply service, which what that means is that I prepared all the food boxes and the shipments for long distance hikers and shipped that to them along the way. So because I've done so many trips myself, I know the logistics and how to do all that. So I was like, well, I'm the perfect person to be able to do this for other people. And then again, there's another reason why I don't do that anymore that we could probably talk about. So every year I've continued building on and building on and building on because I've seen the need for people based on my own personal needs. And I've just tried to find a way to help provide that and the support for other hikers.
That's fantastic. And so for people that might not be aware, PCT is the Pacific Crest Trail, and 2,600 miles. Is
2,650.
50. I knew I was missing a couple of digits there. And from Mexico to Canada, it is the typical route, yes, for the northbound route. And What always has amazed me, I'm a hiker as well. Unfortunately, I'm not a long distance hiker yet. I have backpacked overnight, but the goal is, eventually when life tells me I can, Georgia to Maine is on my list.
Oh, nice.
So cross your fingers and toes over the next few. I don't know when it'll happen, but I'm just waiting for that, whenever the stars align or whatever that happens to be. But what's always interesting in this world of hikers and is that nutrition was never talked about. People eat crap. It's gas station food and getting from one stop to another and candy and sweets and macros were never talked about. Outside of the hiking world, in my regular life, I track my food, which sounds it was actually when I started to do that, my daughter's a nutrition coach. And when I started tracking my food and counting my macros, it was liberating rather than confining, because all of a sudden I'm eating more and I'm healthier and I'm eating
You
more
feel better.
and I feel better because I'm getting the right proportions of protein and fat and carbs. And when you're doing a long distance hike, and you could consider a 2 or 3 day hike, or as they say, a lash hike, which is longer than that, a long and those are still energy expelling events. And the need for understanding your nutrition is huge.
Well, that's like I said, that's how it came about. Is when I'd only ever gone on 3 to 5 day hikes when I decided to hike the Pacific Crest Trail, and I was also a trail runner at the time, and I had a hard time keeping my weight on running 20 miles one day on the
Sure.
weekend, and then I was going to be hiking 20 plus miles a day for 5 to 6 months. So I was like, oh gosh, like eating the gas station food is not going to work. I'm going to have to
No.
figure out how to keep my weight on. I'm going to have to figure out how to not lose muscle mass, those kind of things. And I started really diving, being the dietitian and the nerdy dietitian. I dove into the research, and there is none. Nobody's
Right.
ever studied backpackers. So I had to figure out, okay, what does a backpacker need? So I read about Olympic Committee. I read about professional sports. I read about the military. And I just kind of had to combine all that together to figure out like what works well for a backpacker. And essentially I've been my own guinea pig, which is what I was saying is every trip I've done, I've learned what works and what doesn't work. And then I teach that via Backcountry Foodie. And that's actually how we could talk about my calorie calculator. That's the one thing I see most people do is they don't pack enough food. So we developed a calorie calculator that's on our website that does all those variables for you. So it says like, what's your backpack weight? What's the terrain? How many miles? How fast are you going to go? And that's where I've taken all that research that I did and created a pretty complicated algorithm. It'd probably take me 30 minutes to do the math because there's so many things going into it. But that's one of the resources that I'm really, really proud of because it seems to be helping people really feel a lot better. And that's also what fuels me with Backcountry Foodies. I get emails all the time. It's like, now that I pay attention to nutrition, I'm not eating the sugar. I feel so much better. I hike better, then that's like, okay, I'm doing something right. Like what I'm doing is really helping people. So
Yeah, no doubt about that. And when you're packing for a trip, it's different than when you're packing your car to go on a long trip. And it doesn't matter what your food weighs, and it doesn't matter what you're packing, convenience wise. But when you're putting your life on your back, it's not every ounce that counts, it's every gram that counts, because that gram is 28 ounces. Right. So you're really, the ounce is 28 grams. I got it backwards, but you're really paying attention on the gram level of everything from
a lot of us aren't 20 years old anymore. We feel every single gram.
That is the truth. That is the truth. There's a lot of focus on your sleep system and your clothing and everything that you're packing. And they're really, I think now, and you've done a lot of this work and helped bring this to the forefront, people are really considering, well, I should probably pay attention to, it's not just tuna packets and nor soup mix that's going to get me through. It is the quality of the food, but also paying attention to making sure that you're not overpacking and the weight, because it's easy, you pack your fears. It's easy to pack too much food or too much water, and being able to know what you personally need, because you are going to need something different than somebody else.
Exactly. Well, and the very thing that you mentioned earlier is that you eat really well at home. And then
Mhm.
hikers eat gas station food while they're hiking when that's when their body needs the most
Really needs it
nutrition
more.
because he needs it more. So that's why I try to do a lot of teaching too, as backpackers. I don't think a lot of us don't consider ourselves as an athlete. And we
Mhm.
are. When you think of
Oh,
like
no
sports,
doubt.
who else is carrying a backpack? Who else is climbing mountains? Who's not sleeping well? All these kind of things is that we need to treat our bodies as if we're athletes. So
For
that's a
5
mind
months
shift that I've
at a
been really
time.
working on, is that
Mhm.
you just have to consider yourself differently than what you normally do at home.
Yeah, and that really comes to the importance of what you do and your mission and the mission with Backcountry Foodie. And so now you as a self-employed person, you're a company and you're building your company and it's evolving over time because of what people you're learning more, people are telling you what they need and you're able to change and dynamically move your business to accommodate what hikers need, but that also puts a strain on the business owner as well, would you say?
Oh, absolutely. That's how I've ended up where I am today.
So let's talk about that. But wait, hold before we do that. If anybody's interested and would like to do we can do another revisit on what it's like to hike, what dietary needs or hiking. If anybody would like to do that, we'd glad to do another show. But we're really going to focus on here. I would love to talk about the whole hiking thing all day long. But our purpose here too is just to understand what it's like as a business owner and having to pivot and learning how to listen to your body and taking care of yourself. And that's really where we want to focus here today. So if anybody wants to know more about the other things, we'll definitely cover it at another time. But so Aaron, tell me about you and your what's your experience you've experienced or how your changing of your business really affected you as a person and taking care of yourself.
Well, it's the big change was that we moved, we live on the Central Coast of California now. We
Hmm.
moved here Labor Day weekend of 2021. And the big shift was my husband and I had quit both of our jobs and living in a camper van
Hmm.
in 2019. So he was helping with pretty much half of Backcountry Foodie. I was being the dietitian. He was the project manager, dealing with the accounting and the website and all those kind of things. And then he decided he was ready to go back to work. The problem was we didn't create a transition plan.
Mm.
So I had to immediately figure out how to do all those things that he was doing for me. And again, I was a dietitian. I didn't have business background. So I had to quickly transition to how do I manage a website? How do I manage, the accounting? How do I manage all those things? So that was a huge stressor, is that we moved to a new place. I didn't have a new coach. I didn't have those kind of things. And then with time, I figured that out. And then as I got comfortable and had more free time, I realized that there was another need that I could help with hikers. So that's when I developed the resupply service.
Mhm.
But then I quickly realized that hikers are hiking from February to October. So if I'm going to be available for hikers, I have to be at home. So then
Mhm.
I gave up hiking and backpacking, which is something I'm very passionate about. But I also
Mhm.
really enjoyed helping hikers and supporting them and seeing them finish their business, finish their trip. So that took a toll on my health.
Mhm. And
And that,
before this, take a second quickly.
sure.
So explain what a resupply service is because it sounds simple, but it's honestly very
It's
complicated.
very complicated, and I'm really good at logistics, so that's
Mhm.
something that it came naturally to me. So resupply, what that means is for long distance hikers is you pack enough food on your back for you typically 3 to 5 days, sometimes a
Mhm.
stretch of 10 days. And then you have to go into town, get more food, get more supplies, and then you go back out and hike several more days. And a lot of these trails, like we were just talking about, only have
Mhm.
gas stations in town.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
for the people that do want to eat better, they have food mailed to post offices or gear shops or those kind of things. But not everybody has the luxury of having somebody at home to do that for them. So essentially, I was that coordinator for hikers, is that I would mail their food. And what was really funny is our kitchen turned into a supply station. Every hiker had their own plastic tote with their gear, their extra socks, their extra t-shirts, their bars, that kind of thing. So they would send me a message saying, Aaron, I need XYZ. Please ship it to this post office. So that's
Mhm.
what I would do. I'd pack it all up, take it to the post office, and all the coordination and that kind of thing. And also part of the coordination is I know what places accept packages, which ones don't,
Mhm.
that kind of
Mhm.
thing. Or some of the stories I would get is urgently, this is where I was saying I had to stay at home all the time, is that I would get a call on Saturday, Aaron, I just ripped a hole in my pants. I can't go anywhere until I get a new pair of pants, but I don't have cell service. This was all Actually, I still have my Garmin here at my desk. This is all via Garmin text messaging.
Wow.
So I had to carry this everywhere I went because this is how I communicated with my hikers, because out in the middle of the mountains, you don't have cell service.
Right.
So that kind of thing is I'd have to, maybe we'd be on a day hike. I had to drop that, come home, order those pair of pants, ship them urgently, that kind of thing. Which it just put a hold on my life completely. But again, I enjoy doing it at the same time, but then I ended up doing that for a couple of years. I missed family vacations. My husband and I couldn't go anywhere. So that kind of thing started taking a toll on it. And again, 30% of our house turned into a warehouse too. So because of
And that's a lot for one person to take on.
right.
Incredible concept and such a needed concept. Yeah.
Well, last year I had 50 hikers that I was managing. So
Wow.
it was a lot. And
Wow.
I have a hard time saying no, which is how I got myself into the situation where I am right now, which we could talk about. But I have a hard time because I know people are in need and I have that skill that I can help. So I'm like, sure, I'll figure it out.
Yeah. It'll be all right. That's one of those triggers. If in the back of your head, you go, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
You're like,
I'll
oh,
figure
hold
it
on
out.
a second. Yeah. Gotta think this one through.
Right.
So resupply sounds simple, but it's incredibly complicated. And it's not just, sounds like it wasn't just food. You're also resupplying things as needed. You are the support system for those 50 hikers. And those 50 hikers, were they primarily PCT hikers or?
All across the country.
They were everywhere. So
Yeah,
you
so
have
that's
to understand where you can drop on the Colorado Trail or
well, and
the
timing
eighth-
some,
and-
right. And then some locations are really remote. So you ship it to one location, but then you have to wait for it to be driven to another location. So it's all the timing of the hiker says, I'm hiking this many miles per day. I'll be here in I think this amount of days. So I have to logistically figure out where to send things and that kind of thing. So yeah, it was a lot, but I was good at it.
Oh, absolutely. But there's also this level of stress that your body starts to not release. And especially if you're not hiking yourself, there's that stress starts to build up, I'm sure. Yeah. And so the next step, you said that, so you did that resupply service for 2 years?
2 years.
2
And
years.
then that first year, one of the requests I was getting too is part of what I do with Backcountry Foodie is I really focus on a lot of dietary restrictions because that's one of the difficult things with food that's out there is there's not enough vegan or vegetarian or soy free or, all these different dietary restrictions. So I have those recipes. So what people were asking is, especially I've had several celiac hikers that were really worried about finding safe foods for them to eat along the way. So I'm like, sure, I'll make your food. This is what I do for a living. So the first year I opened up my cottage food business. So I made all the food in my house. And then that grew really rapidly. So I was getting more and more requests. So the following year, which was this past year, 2024, I had a commercial food business, which I wasn't allowed to make food in my house anymore. So I had to rent a commercial food space. And unfortunately, that got really stressful because, again, I live in California where labor costs are extremely expensive. And then renting the kitchen was expensive. So that's one of the learning experiences I had is I really give kudos to commercial food businesses. It's a lot of work. It's really expensive. Your return, your margins are really low. So that kind of thing. So I made all the food by myself. So I would go into the kitchen several days a week, and I live in Orchid, but I would have to go to San Luis Obispo, which is 45 minutes away, to use the kitchen.
Oh, wow.
And it was inevitable that I'd get to the kitchen and I forgot something. So I either forgot my measuring cups, I forgot my scale or something. So then you have to drive back home and then you go back. And, it was just that kind of thing that happened all the time. So that was extremely stressful. But again, I was like, I have the skills. I'll figure it out. I'll do it.
How many hours a week were you putting in the kitchen?
100. Well, no, 100 hours a week total between
everything.
running my website, running the nutrition coaching, running the resupply, running the kitchen. So, and again, I couldn't hire help because it was so expensive that I wasn't producing enough. And then because the resupply business was out of my house, I'm not allowed to hire help to come into my house. That's the laws here in California. So I had to manage all that by myself. So I started looking for commercial real estate to get it out of my house and to get it out of the kitchen. but they wanted a 5-year lease. And that was
Mhm.
really made me really, really nervous. Is that
Mhm.
if I
Sure,
commit
the
to 5 years,
commitment.
the commitment made me really
Right.
nervous. So I was like, let me get through this year, see how it goes, and then I can look at getting space and that kind of thing and
Mhm.
really committing to it.
And these challenges are so common in many different industries for entrepreneurial people that are in that growth mode. It's so difficult to go from the solo entrepreneur, now your business is too much for just you, to without some sort of angel funding or funding from someplace to be able to jump to the next level.
Right. Well, and that made me nervous too, because I didn't know is that I could take out a business loan, but then how am I going to do? Will I be able to pay back the business? It was just all these
Sure.
things in my head kind of going like,
Hmm.
I need this, but I'm not ready to jump. Maybe I should do this a little longer. So it was extremely stressful. And then again, I didn't see my husband. I
Hmm.
didn't get to go on vacation. I didn't walk my dog. I didn't get to exercise at all anymore because
Hmm.
I would wake up
Because
at
you're
3 or 4
working.
o'clock in the morning and go to bed at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that was my day. I didn't stop moving.
What's the body do through all that?
It fails, which we could talk about. I have a pillow behind me because I recently had spine surgery.
Hmm.
Because my body finally told me it's time to stop, that I was ignoring myself. Actually, I started having it started 3 years ago. There were just these little bitty things that were starting to creep up that were kind of telling
Mm.
me, Aaron, like, you're too stressed. You're putting too much stress on yourself. So it started out as severe reflux. Then I started having difficulty swallowing food. And then I started
Mm.
having chest pains. And then I started having back pain. And then it finally, let's see, I'm post-op 7 weeks now. So I'm like 11 weeks, my body completely shut down and said, you're not going to walk anymore. I was in a wheelchair. I couldn't walk. I
Wow.
couldn't stand up. I could only take 2 to 3 steps to get into the wheelchair, 2 to 3 steps to go to the bathroom. That's
Wow.
the only movement that I did. So my body, it told me it's time.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
you've done enough damage to yourself that you need to take care of yourself.
Wow. We, as a stubborn entrepreneurial person that I know that I can be, right? It's in your when you're focused on the end game or you're so focused on the business, it's so easy to ignore yourself.
Mhm. Well, and everything before was tolerable,
Right.
It's
Right.
like, oh, I can deal with a little bit of reflux. Oh, I had a little bit of difficulty swallowing food. Yeah, there were 2 weeks that I couldn't eat. I had to drink everything. You would think a dietitian, there's something wrong.
Right.
I can only drink because I can't
Well,
swallow.
a carpenter's house is never finished. That kind
Right.
of thing, right? Because you're so, well, it'll be okay.
Right.
I'll just work through this part. And it's such an important message. And I thank you so much for coming on here and talking about this, because there are so many people that it's that work-life balance is such an overused statement, but it is so, so important.
Well, and so many people were saying they could see that I was stressed. They're like, Aaron, you need to start to, and I just ignored it. And
Hmm.
I was like, again, I've got this. I can figure it
Hmm.
out. I
It'll be
just
all
kept
right.
ignoring it because I was growing. The business was doing well. I was growing. So these things for myself, I was helping hikers. I was getting a lot of really awesome feedback. They were really appreciative. So what was the drive to cut back because things were going
Hmm.
so well, other than, yes, I was ignoring myself and
Hmm.
ignoring my family, unfortunately. So that's one of the things I really regret is this year is going to be the first year I've gone on the annual family vacation in 5 years.
Wow.
And I'm looking at all my nieces and nephews that were younger and are now becoming teenagers, that
Oh,
kind of
wow.
thing. And my parents are now getting close to 80. So it's
Hmm.
those things that I missed out on that
Hmm.
it's like, oh my gosh, like I really wasn't paying attention to those important things in my life that now work has to take a back seat. Like those things now need to be priority because my parents aren't going to be around forever.
Right.
So I
Right.
will really regret not spending time with them if I don't make some changes.
Yeah. Yeah. So important. And it's such an important message. And the body, the body will tell you that things are not okay. And when you don't listen, the body shouts louder and louder
Louder, more.
until you're at the point where, oh, I should be listening.
It was a real smack in the face that oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's so I'm cutting back the business even more. So
Hmm.
because even what I'm doing now, that's what I'm really focusing on now is reducing the waste.
Hmm.
So any web pages that aren't revenue generating, any blog posts that aren't getting traffic, social media, I'm really cutting back on because I don't need to post every single day, which is what I was
Hmm.
something I was doing before, sometimes even twice a day. So I still engage, I still post several times a week,
Hmm.
engaging with customers. So it's those things that I'm just cutting out waste that
Hmm.
are taking up my time. And I'm even considering going to another platform to host the
Hmm.
website that let those people manage the plugins and the payments. And, those are all things that I'm managing all that myself, which a lot of people who aren't entrepreneurs don't realize how much it goes into just managing a web page.
Right.
So I'm researching different platforms right now to even put that on somebody else so they can manage
Hmm.
all those things. And that I can go back to, I love being in the kitchen. I love helping people. So I can really focus on being a dietitian, which is what I'm good at, and let
Hmm.
go of all the accounting and, all those other things to let somebody else manage that.
And have it be okay that you don't have to do everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And
How
I'm a very strong type A personality, if you can tell. And that
and noticed.
it's really hard for me to let go, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have to let go.
yeah. And it really does come back to, like you were saying when we were talking before we started the official conversation, you have a lot of life to live.
Mhm.
And now you have to be as committed to the quality of that life as you're committed to your business, or
Right.
even more.
Well, and I used to enjoy volunteering. I would love to do trail repairs, all those kind of
Mhm.
things that I'm really appreciative of all those people doing the work when that's something that I could be doing.
Right.
So those are things I'm looking at filling my new time doing other things that bring me joy instead of bringing me stress. So
Mhm. So the reflective process on this, it's not immediate, is it?
no,
Or when does
this
that
has
happen?
been
How does that happen?
this has been very much months and probably years, coming. And it was finally when I had my spine surgery recently that I just had to
Mhm.
really decide, okay, how are you going to make these changes? How's it going to affect your life going long term? How are you going to regain happiness? It's not that I haven't been happy, but it's a different kind of happy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
different.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And then I like how you said that it's a different kind of happy, because you can be happy in all the things that you're doing, but there's this happy that you're happy, but also the happy without the stress. And it's the looking at the full picture, making sure that you're present with your family and being able to be present more.
Well, and I was really proud, happy as I was proud of myself for getting as far as I have and achieving
Hmm.
the things that I've done. But again, I've been missing out on all those other things that are long-term memories that are
Hmm.
joyful, that bring me joy,
Sure.
that kind of thing.
Yeah. And you've proven that your business model, or what the services that you provide, are needed in the hiking community.
And this is kind of funny. This shows you how much work the resupply business is I had someone reach out to me because they're like, Aaron, this is something that needs to continue on. How did you do it? I want to take it over. I had 2 meetings with the person. I haven't heard back from them ever since. Because I think I scared them away with and this is a couple that's retired and is traveling and they have the time to do it. And then
Oh, that's really
it's
funny.
like it's a lot of
Oh, you might
work.
have been doing the job for 20 people.
Right.
So through the reflective process and also through your healing process. So first of all, what is your healing process like, and how does that work after spinal surgery?
It's been extremely slow
Hmm.
because I was so hard on myself going all the way up into the surgery that I lost a lot of muscle mass. I was in a really bad physical position. So, and I didn't believe my surgeon when she said this, but she said, this is not a typical 6-week recovery that most of my patients have. This is a 6-month
Mm,
recovery. And
right.
I'm now 7 weeks out, going on 8 weeks post-op, and I haven't even had the basic restrictions lifted. And I was teasing before, here's my gripper. I can't go anywhere without my
Yeah.
gripper because I can't bend, I can't twist, I can't lift. So just basic things. I can't do grocery shopping. I can't do laundry. I can't do a lot of the basic things. So that's been really hard to accept as I went from working 100 hours a week, lifting heavy tote boxes, that kind of thing, working in a kitchen to I can't do a whole lot. And I still have to take breaks during the day. I can't work a full work day. So it's been a very slow process and I'm having to be patient with myself, which is
There's
another
a
really
lesson too.
which is really tough for me because I'm very go, go, go. I need to like get things back. But like you mentioned, I'm 48 years old. I'm not ready to give up hiking. I'm not ready to give up swimming. I'm not ready to give up those things. So the only way I can get back to doing those things that I love is listening to my body that I didn't do these last couple of years and following what my body says. So as soon as it says you can progress, then I'm going to progress. And I've actually had a little bit of regression this past week is that now I have pain in the other leg. So we're having to be really careful and backing off of the things that I was doing so I don't, because I had 2 herniated discs. One was extreme and had to be repaired. The other is not so bad that we're hoping I can manage with physical activity or physical therapy. But we're wondering if that's not going to be the case because of my physical therapy, I'm starting to have some new pain. So I'm having to be very patient. It's not something that comes easy to me.
Yeah. There's those damn life lessons that keep slamming it. What the heck? So when this also creates another pivot in your business, and pivots in the business they're not always, well, I don't, negative's the wrong word, but it's not a bad, the changes in the business at a time might feel backwards, but it's also a time to actually re-energize and reorganize and see how you can provide such a needed service, but in a better way.
Well, I'm actually really excited about the pivot that I decided on. And I don't know why I didn't consider this sooner. This is one of those, I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning and it was like an aha moment. Is I've been teaching students for I think probably the last 6 years. And again, I volunteered my time because it's something I enjoy doing. So I had that aha moment is I should apply for university teaching positions and teach because that's something that brings me joy. But I could teach one class and have some financial stability. So then I don't have to put the pressure on myself to do so much with Backcountry Foodie. Is that Backcountry Foodie can now be the passion project that it used to be, but I have the financial stability from being a professor. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. But unfortunately, there's been a bump in the road for that is now with the way the government things are working is there's a lot of freezing a hold on hiring new people. So it might take a little bit longer for that to happen. But in my head, I was like, this is where I'm going. So I'm not stressed anymore because I know there's that pivot that's going to happen that's going to bring me a lot of stress relief.
And that positive outlook is so important for your body healing.
I
Because
sleep.
now you can give you wow.
I haven't slept in a long time. I sleep now.
Bonus. Yeah. And so now you can give your body the space. If there's something mentally that happens that when you know you have a plan and it just feels right.
Well, and like I was saying, I'm making these transitions already with the website is that I'm getting rid of the waste so that even when I do go to teach and splitting my time with that is I've gotten rid of all the extra things that just take a lot of extra time. So actually I've come up with a 120-day plan to where every day, like here's my goal for today. Okay, let's get rid of this. Okay, here's my goal for today. Let's get rid of this. So that way, when the time comes that I can get a teaching position, then all of those things are already in place and I can start at any time. So yeah,
That's
I'm really looking
beautiful.
forward to it. Even though
That's exciting.
it's exciting.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And you said it when you said it, you said it before and you just said it again too, reducing the waste. And I wrote it down and I circled it because honestly, that's what you've done in this backpacking world because you reduce the waste of the waste of the food that people are consuming to make it better for them. And now you're honestly taking that same concept into your own business and redefining what you don't need.
right. And again, I thought I needed everything because that's what I thought I needed to do. But I'm quickly realizing it's waste. And this is something that we had to do when I worked in the hospitals. You had to constantly get rid of waste so you could see more patients. So again, it was another one of those light bulb moments. It was like, why am I doing XYZ? It's not benefiting me at all. I'm just doing it to be doing it kind of thing. So
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So next steps are a teaching position, and even though things are on hold right now, your body's not quite ready yet, so it gives you time to heal and not feel like you need to be there right this moment.
Right. And thank goodness my husband, that part of the stress too is my husband has a good job. So
Hmm.
that I have to let go of me feeling like I need to be the provider, because I
Hmm.
did have a really solid position before making the income. So I put that pressure on myself, is that I want to make
Sure.
at least as much as I used to. And he's like, Aaron, I mean, he loves me dearly. He's like, I can cover us, take care of yourself, and we'll figure this out. So I'm super grateful for having that. So
Yeah.
then so then that way I can think about the teaching position and how much I need to make and that kind of thing. So that's reduced a lot
Yeah.
of my stress too, is I've just had to let go of a lot of these pressures that I put on myself.
Yeah, good for you, because that's not easy.
No,
No, it's that 6 inches between our ears that really.
no.
And so then, so this, that I love the pivot for Backcountry Foodie, and where do you see the turning it into a passion project again, which is so wonderful. Where do you see that changing or staying similar?
Well, right now I'm working on writing a cookbook, which I've
Hmm.
gotten that for years and years and years. People have wanted, like, just give me a cookbook so I can keep it on my shelf kind of thing. So that's something during this transition period while I'm waiting for a teaching position to come up, is
Hmm.
that I'm taking all the recipes, writing a cookbook, and hopefully going to pitch it to publishers
Fantastic.
in May. I published a
Hmm.
cookbook myself before, extremely stressful. I'll never do that again. So I've gone through
Reduce
that.
the
So
waste.
yeah, so this time I was like, I have all this content, I'm just going to repackage it so people can still access it, but I'm
Hmm.
taking the stress off of myself. Like I was saying, I'm putting the website on a different platform so somebody else can manage it. So that's kind of a way of, I'm still producing the content that I love. And then I'm really focusing on building the coaching part, is that that's something that
Hmm.
comes naturally to me. It doesn't require a lot of extra work. So those are the two things I'm really going to focus on, is keeping my recipes out there because I love it, keep the coaching, and then the other part-time is the teaching. So I'm really excited that there's three things that I love to do that are going to reduce
And they're all
stress.
achievable.
They're all achievable and reduce my stress. I'm looking forward to being hiking again. I'm looking forward to swimming, going on vacation this summer. So it's been a really good pivot. It's just unfortunate that my body said, stop. It took
Well,
that to
yeah.
finally come to my senses.
Well, unfortunate, but also fortunate, because it could have been worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have
So,
had a heart attack because I was putting that. I've actually seen two cardiologists and had echoes, and I've had a lot of things because I was putting that amount of stress on myself that we
mhm.
were really worried about me having cardiac disease.
Wow. Yeah. That's so, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Right. Hmm.
So that again, the cardiologist was kind of like another one, like, you need to like take a break. You're gonna really get yourself in a lot of trouble.
So what can we do to support you? What do you need? What can the community do to provide to you? The trail provides. So what can the trail community or your community, what can we do for you?
I guess continue visiting Backcountry Foodie and
Mhm.
enjoying the resources that I do provide. And if
Mhm.
people do need help, know that I am here to help.
Mhm.
But also appreciate that I'm not here as many hours a day as I used to be,
Mhm.
and that kind of thing. So Backcountry Foodie isn't going anywhere. It's just going to look a little bit different. So just continuing to support. And that's been the greatest part about the hiking community, is they're super supportive of me taking care of
Mhm.
myself.
Mhm.
And I was afraid that if I posted that I'm struggling, that I would lose followers
Mm-mm.
and supporters, but it's actually grown even more. That
Mhm.
people are like, I've been in your shoes. I know what it's like to have surgery. I know what it's like to be stressed and that kind of thing. So they've been extremely supportive of, you got this, Aaron, you can get through this. You've
Mhm.
taken care of us for 8 years. Now it's time to take care of yourself.
Beautiful. Aaron, thank you. Thank you so much
Oh,
for
sure.
being here and sharing your story, and explaining, or not explaining, but just giving an incredible description of how we should really be paying attention to our bodies.
Self-care is so important. And this the kind of the funny thing is I really believe in self-care while on the trail.
Yeah.
Because I was having so many injuries that I'm
Right.
very diligent about my self-care on the trail, is stretching, eating well and those kind of things, that I didn't take that into my regular life. So I know there's other people that are in my shoes or have been in my
Mhm.
shoes, that kind of thing, is that just take the time to listen, work will be there. It'll figure itself out. And if it doesn't, then pivot to figure out how you can regain the joy, those kind of things.
So thank you. Thank you so much, Erin. I
Sure.
appreciate your time and love the conversations, and heal well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening today. Today's show is sponsored by Seaside Solutions, my financial services company. As a business owner, it's easy to be pulled in many different directions, and often taking care of yourself plummets to the bottom of the list. For me, I find myself outside to reground. My time outdoors helps me manage my day more effectively and be more present for my clients. Through this, Discover Rising Tides was born. At Seaside Solutions, we truly believe that education is the foundation of financial wellness. Our primary focus is to provide guidance that is designed to help you achieve your long-term financial goals and visions. Working with a plan allows space for doing more things that you love, like being outside to make the inside better. If I can help you create or realign your plan, or if you would like to be added to my weekly newsletter, please let me know. This week's topic was 5 ways to set more achievable goals. Your referral means the big, beautiful world to me, and if I can help, please let me know. And thank you so much for listening, and see you next time.